Happy Thanksgiving, you filthy pilgrims, and welcome to Rivalry Weekend. The last week of college football is finally here. Turkey is in the oven, and the lanes are getting greased up because bowling season is upon us. As always, we got the great Anthony Evans hosting and the inventor of the 20-piece podcast. And make sure you know that the court is now in order. The judge, Conrad Van Order, is here from Jocks 94.5 here in Birmingham, joining us from the other side of the camera. The NIL basketball tournaments, they've tipped off, and we are officially on to Rivalry Week to finish off the 2025 college football regular season. So let's jump right into it. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. This week's episode is brought to you by Birmingham Sports, your official one-stop shop for everything happening in the Magic City scene. Get out to a game and stay up to date with everything Birmingham sports related on Instagram at Birmingham Sports and on X at Birmingham Sports as well. This week, I think it's just right that we kick it off with a mini Rivalry Week rant, just kind of like we did last week with the Week 3 of the College Football Playoff Committee going in. But just want to hear, gentlemen, your thoughts on what Rivalry Week has meant to you over the years and what you think this year is going to portray us in the next couple of days after we stuff our face with some turkey. So, Ant, what's on your mind and what do you got to rant about here?
Yeah, I've been posting some shorts and reels lately, and the one that's got the biggest traction is the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry versus the Auburn-Alabama rivalry. If you think that the Iron Bowl is not the better rivalry game, you're wrong. In the last 25 years, the Auburn-Alabama rivalry has produced 8 national champions, and the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry has produced 4. I think we have the better talent, and I know we have the better fans because if you are in the South or in Alabama, you're going to have a fight on Thanksgiving if you got the house divided, for sure. So I think the Iron Bowl is definitely better than the game.
Okay. Hot take. I think that's been a pretty trending topic across the board, no matter which radio, which broadcast you're getting your information from. Conrad, I know you guys have been saying some stuff on Jocks 94.5, but personally from the judge himself, what do you have to say about Rivalry Week?
So for my mini rant on Rivalry Week, first off, I do agree with Anthony on his take about the Iron Bowl being better than the game. It's led to more national championships, like you brought up, but the big thing is just it being in the same state, man, having to live with these people 365 days a year and having to work with them, live across the street from them, all that stuff. It's just it means a little bit more, right? So. And you can only, really understand that if you live in a state like this. Mississippi has the same thing, right? So I think that speaks for itself. But otherwise, super excited for all the games coming up this weekend. Obviously, the Iron Bowl this year means a lot, particularly for Alabama in terms of, trying to get in the playoff and everything. But a lot on the line for Auburn, too, trying to get bowl eligible and kind of cap off their season in a really special way there. So, but Texas A&M, excited for the second year of that. Can someone finally knock off A&M? There's so many great games going on around the conference. Tennessee and Vanderbilt, like the fact that's maybe a playoff type game there is really, really cool to see. So I'm just excited for all the matchups. Glad to see a lot of games with a lot of meaning to them here to wrap up the season.
I think that's pretty spot on, and I'm going to just piggyback off the rivalry of the game versus the Iron Bowl. This year alone, 2025, you're looking at get-in price for the game in Michigan, $277, where the Iron Bowl get-in price in Jordan-Hare is $284. So let that, I know it's only, what is that, $7 more? Let that speak for itself.
It just means more.
It just means more. I think you also, Conrad, you put in a very good point. I think it's the in-state rivalries that just go that much further. You're looking, you could say Michigan State. Is that up there? Probably not, but, you're arguing it. A&M, Texas, Clemson, South Carolina, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, like you said, Oregon, Washington. I know that's on the slate this weekend. I'm sure Oregon State used to be something way back in the day, and obviously the way that college football's evolved into what it is now, it just doesn't have that much meaning anymore. But obviously Alabama, Auburn, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Georgia Tech. The list goes on. I think the in-state rivalries just mean that much more, whether it's SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12. Whichever way you want to look at it there.
And it's not a good thing. I'm not – I guess I shouldn't condone this, but I will say I don't hear about other rivalries leading to, people getting shot. things like that. Crazy. Just saying, there's crazy stuff that happens in Alabama after the Iron Bowl. I don't really hear about that kind of stuff going on with other teams. Not saying it's good, but maybe part of the argument.
You do hear it in the soccer leagues over in Europe and all the other soccer-led countries. So we are thankful that college football has kept a little bit sanity there.
Yeah.
Kept a little bit sanity in today's crazy world. Well, let's dive in. Wrapping up Week 13 last week, the week before Rivalry Week, we had Missouri on the road at Oklahoma. Oklahoma being a 7.5-point favorite. Oklahoma was able to cover that, winning 17-6. Louisville on the road at SMU. SMU being a 3.5-point favorite. SMU winning in pretty good fashion here. 20-piece on the board for the Ponies, 38-6. Washington State on the road at James Madison. The Dukes were a 13.5-point favorite. Kept it pretty too close here and did not cover. James Madison did win, though, 24-20. USC on the road in Oregon at Eugene. The Ducks being a 10.5-point favorite, they were able to cover that no problem at all, winning 42-27. Kentucky on the road at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt being a 9.5-point favorite. They covered that no problem at all, and also another 20-piece, 45-17. Kansas State on the road at Utah. Don't know if you guys were able to watch this, but this was a very entertaining game here. The Utes were a 16.5-point favorite being at home. They were able to win, but it was a come-from-behind win. They were taking down the Wildcats 51-47. Pittsburgh on the road at Georgia Tech, night game, and Bobby Dodd. The Yellow Jackets, 2.5-point favorite. They didn't cover, and they didn't win. Pittsburgh wins 42-28, almost a 20-piece there. Nebraska on the road in Happy Valley at Penn State there. Penn State being a 9.5-point game here. They covered with ease, a 20-point there. Nittany Lions 37, Cornhuskers 10. Tennessee on the road in Gainesville to the Florida Gators. They also put up a on-the-money mark 20-point piece here, 31-11, covering that 3.5-point favorite by the Vols. And to wrap it up on the nightcap, BYU on the road at Cincy. BYU being a 2.5-point favorite there, handled that with ease, 26-14, taking down the Bearcats of Cincinnati there. 20-piece of the week. Congratulations to you, Conrad. Notre Dame did what Notre Dame does best and beats the crap teams, like Conrad said. 70-7, taking down the Syracuse Orangemen. And we're not going to call that a 20-piece. We're not going to call it a 40-piece. We're not even going to call it a 60-piece. That's a 63-piece there, 70-7. So job well done, Conrad.
They had a 20-piece before they took an offensive snap. They were up 21-0 just on defense and special teams. That's crazy.
That's impressive, and that's honestly going to lead you to get to that 63-piece there. So job well done, you lucky Irish. We'll leave it at that. Diving into Rivalry Week, Week 14, starting off on Friday, day after Thanksgiving. Hope they do not eat too much turkey, ham, or cranberry sauce. Ole Miss on the road at Mississippi State for the Egg Bowl. Ole Miss being a 7.5-point favorite. Anthony, feed me in. What you got happening on Egg Bowl?
Yeah, I think Ole Miss is going to cover here. I think Ole Miss just got too much offensive firepower for Mississippi State just to keep up with them, keep pace. This Mississippi State secondary has kind of struggled all year against like Lane Kiffin type speed and tempo. I think this Ole Miss has just got too much depth and scoring ability. So give me the Rebels coming home with the Egg Bowl and covering -7.5.
Very nice. Conrad following suit or switching it up?
Yeah, man, this one's tough because I mean, Ole Miss is a way better team, right? But when you factor in potential distractions, everything that's going on with Lane Kiffin, you just wonder. I mean, it's a rivalry game. You're on the road. Mississippi State, they had some moments early in the year where they got close against some good teams. They looked like they had really taken the next step, and this would be kind of a way to really build that momentum for next year with Jeff Levy. But I still think Ole Miss is too good. So, yeah, I'm with Anthony. I'm going to take the Rebels to cover, and I think Lane Kiffin gets a nice win in his last game as the Ole Miss head coach.
Okay. Strong prediction there. You may want to put 1 foot in your mouth. You're going to put 2 feet in and tell us where he's going?
I'll guess LSU.
Okay. All right. We'll see. We'll see if Conrad can get a 20-piece, if he can say it's his last game, and see if he's going to LSU. So that's 3 predicaments you got right there.
I want him to go to the NFL. That'd be even crazier.
Yeah. He could go coach for the Giants. It is open. I'm going to switch it up here and go with Mississippi State simply because you do have that distraction. Obviously, Ole Miss is, like you said, a much better team here. But I think with the distractions, with Ole Miss being on the road and it being 7.5, you give me 6.5. I think maybe a 7-point game. But I think it's rivalry week. Everything's going to be close here. I think it's going to be one possession. I think the Dogs cover, but Ole Miss wins. So I'll go against you guys on this one. No problem at all. Moving on to clean old-fashioned hate. Georgia, I'm going to say at Georgia Tech. This is in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, a neutral site here. The Dogs being a 13.5-point favorite. Anthony, fill us in. What you got?
Yeah, Bondi, you've been high on the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets all year.
Time to get off.
I just think that the SEC physicality is just going to be too much for them this year. They kept it close last year, and it was interesting to watch. You got Kirby doing his little coaching annex at the end. Was that last year or 2 years ago when he kept calling timeouts in OT? But he's gonna be involved, and the SEC is just too strong for the ACC. I just think this is one where Georgia wins big here. So give me the Dogs -13.5.
Very nice. Conrad following suit or switching it up?
Yeah, I like Georgia big in this one. Again, I didn't see last year coming, right? It went to, 7 overtimes, and that was probably the best game of the entire season just in terms of entertainment. But I think last week a little bit with Georgia Tech, we kind of talked about it, right? There were some close calls this year in some games that they barely won against some not great teams, and you kind of look back and go, okay, I saw the Pitt thing coming a little bit. So I think Georgia, they're just a much better team. Not really a whole lot on the line for them, a lot on the line for Georgia Tech. So I think Georgia goes out there, plays loose, and they're the better team.
Not much to add to it, Anthony. You nailed it right out of the gate. I've been burned week after week picking these Yellow Jackets, and it's officially time for me to learn my lesson. UGA is still fighting for a chance to be in the SEC championship, while I think Georgia Tech's going to be fighting to get down 5 miles back to their own campus. So give me the Dogs with a potential 20-piece here. Could very well happen in Mercedes-Benz. Moving over to the great state of Texas, the Lone Star Showdown, A&M on the road at Texas, 2.5-point favorite for the Aggies. Anthony, who you got here and why?
I'm going to go with Texas plus 2.5. Marcel Reed's going to be a problem for sure. The fans are going to show up for the Aggies, but I think A&M struggled in tight road games. You look at the Notre Dame game, they only won by 1. They scraped by Arkansas, with a 3-point win, and then they had a huge scare at home for South Carolina a couple weeks ago. Texas has proven they can win rivalry games. They beat Oklahoma 23-6. So in a toss-up game right here, I'm going to go. I'm going to take Texas plus 2.5 just to throw a little chaos into the playoff mix.
Love it. Horns are up for Anthony. Conrad, they up or down for you?
Oh, really tempting to pick Texas. It really is, because this is the best team that Texas A&M has played all year besides Notre Dame, and that was a long time ago when they played Notre Dame. So I think Texas is going to have a great opportunity in this one, and there's something that just doesn't feel right about Texas A&M going 12-0. But I go back to the South Carolina. There's just things that have happened this year for Texas A&M where you're like, okay, this is a team of almost like a team of destiny kind of thing, and it feels like they're going to still get an opportunity to go to Atlanta and win the SEC. They've been the best team in the SEC all year long, so I think that continues. I'll take Texas A&M, but I'll take them by a field goal. I think it's a close one.
Very nice. Horns down there. I'm going to ride with the horns down. I honestly think this is probably the most anticipated game this week, just with the playoff implications that are at stake here. The Lone Star Showdown finally renewed, hosted at Texas. A lot of critics are giving A&M, saying they're too overhyped. They have only played the bottom half of the SEC conference. But Conrad, like you said at the beginning of the year, they took down Notre Dame. It was only a 1-point win, but that was on the road. I think they've obviously learned a lot throughout the year, the season that's followed that. Texas, they're not the Texas that we thought they were going to be at the beginning of the year. You're looking at Arch Manning. I mentioned during the Georgia game he was probably going to crack under pressure. I think this is one of those another high-pressure games that he just doesn't perform to his capability, and that's why I'm taking A&M 2.5, maybe 5 points here. Definitely more than a field goal, though, for the Aggies. So, horns down. Moving on to the game. First game of Saturday on the slate here. Ohio State in the Big House on Michigan. 11.5-point favorite for the Buckeyes. Anthony, we know why you feel We know how you feel about the game, but how do you feel about the outcome of the game?
The game, you mean the second best rivalry in the country? Yeah, I'm going to go Michigan 11.5 here. 11.5 just seems kind of big for, a big rivalry game. And even if Ohio State is the better team on paper, this rivalry is intense, and the home environment always seems to kind of elevate Michigan's game a little bit. But I don't think Michigan will win, but I do think they'll cover. Give me the Wolverines minus or plus 11.5.
Okay. Conrad following suit or switching it up?
Yeah, I'm spot on right there with Anthony on this one. Again, I mean, Michigan's won 4 straight years in this matchup. I think you could probably argue that 2 or 3 out of those 4 years, Ohio State was definitely the better team and still lost those games. And I think they're the better team this year. But this is maybe the best team they played all season long, because I think Texas, the version of Texas they played at the beginning of the year, I think is worse than Michigan is now. So this is going to be their first real challenge in 3 months. I think it's enough to keep it close. Michigan just kind of has their number, like Anthony was talking about. So, yeah, Ohio State's going to win, maybe by a touchdown, maybe by a field goal, something like that. But, yeah, Michigan's going to cover.
Interesting. Gentlemen, I think Ryan Day has learned his lesson. He got embarrassed. He was on the chopping block last year, then went on to win a national championship, and they still were giving him hell for that. I think he's taken that with the past 365 days or whatever it may be. I did see, I think it's like 2,187 or 2,150 plus days since Ohio State has won because COVID canceled this game. So Ohio State is due. Ryan Day, he's a little more ticked off than he should be, and you got Matt Patricia leading the most dominant defense of all of college football right now. I like Ohio State 11.5 here, no problem at all. I'm probably going to put my foot in my mouth, but I'm hammering down on the Buckeyes. Give them to me.
I like it. They should beat them by 2 touchdowns.
They should, and they should have beat them last year, but how'd that work out?
Exactly.
I mean, this is the benefit of rivalry week. I think everything we're saying, yeah, we might have good takes, we might have good insight to it. We don't have the script though.
Kind of throw it all out the window for this. Yep.
Exactly. Moving over to South Carolina, the Palmetto Bowl. Clemson on the road out South Carolina. Anthony, what's going to be happening in that Palmetto State there?
Yeah, I'm going to take Clemson plus 2.5 here. I mean, even though they've struggled this year with the loss of Syracuse, Georgia Tech, SMU, Duke, I think they still have the better roster. I mean, Lenore Sellers was a big crash out. Heisman hopeful earlier this year, and he just tanked completely. Really, the only win they've got that's notable, at least in the SEC, is Kentucky. And everybody else they've kind of lost to. So even though Clemson has been inconsistent, I think their upside's just a little bit higher. But in a rivalry game with the small spread, I'm going to take the better team on paper here.
You mentioned Lenore Sellers, but what about Cade Klubnik? Is that not a bust himself?
Him too, yeah, for sure. I just think overall they're a better team. The quarterbacks have similar situations for sure.
Not disagreeing. Conrad following suit or switching it up?
I'm going to take the Gamecocks in this one. Again, I think they're another one of those teams that's been really disappointing this year. They played really close in some games against pretty good teams. Put up a good fight against Alabama, obviously, Texas A&M, Ole Miss for a good bit of that game. Things got out of hand against Oklahoma, but I don't know. I think for South Carolina, this is a chance to kind of, again, right some of the wrongs from the season that you've had. They haven't been great, but I think defensively they're still pretty good. This is a coin flip for me, but I'm going to take South Carolina.
Interesting. I'm going to go Team Ant here. You're looking at Clemson. They're on back-to-back wins. South Carolina only has 4 wins on the season. They did take A&M down to the wire and put up a pretty good first half, but didn't close out the second half there. You're looking at the ACC versus the SEC. Obviously, the SEC is a whole lot more dominant than the ACC this year, but I'm taking the 6-win Clemson team over a 4-win South Carolina team. So give me the Tigers covering that plus 2.5, no problem there. That is the Palmetto Bowl. We got Miami and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh being the home team, 4.5-point favorite. No official rivalry game title for this one, so I've gone ahead and titled this the Battle of the Pro Stadiums. They're both playing in their respective city for professional football here. You got the Dolphins as well as the Steelers. We're just going to run with it. Anthony, who you got in the battle of the Pro Stadium Bowl here?
Yeah, this is a tough one. To me, it comes down to Pittsburgh's defense and Miami's offense, right? So Miami's biggest problem all season has been their turnovers, and Pittsburgh is the wrong team to play when you're loose with the ball. Pitt's defense is 35th in the country in total defense. They force you to make mistakes, and I think that's exactly what Miami hates. So also Pittsburgh's the hotter team right now. They're coming off the win against Georgia Tech. Miami's lost to SMU and Louisville recently, so I'm going to take Pitt minus 4.5 here.
Very nice. Very nice. Conrad, following suit or switching it up?
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Pitt again. They came through big time last week against Georgia Tech, so I'll roll with them again here. I think Miami, Pitt has more to play for because Miami, yes, they're trying to keep their playoff hopes alive, but they don't have a chance to go to the ACC title game, whereas Pitt does. And I think ultimately that kind of powers them through. But I think Ant brings up a good point about the Pitt defense going up against Carson Beck, and we've seen, go back to the Louisville game, right? Through 4 interceptions in that game. That's why you lost it. So, I think Pitt, they take the momentum from last week, go in there and get a win for Miami and kind of end that playoff dream there for the Hurricanes.
All right. I do think Miami does have a chance to make it to the ACC championship, but I think there's 8 certain steps that have to take it, which you might as well just say it's impossible because
So you're telling me there's a chance.
There's a chance. Don't rule them out yet. This is a toss-up. I think the winner of this game is going to be a 1 to 2 point winner, and I think that's my only reason that I'm picking Miami of plus 4.5. I think it's going to be a very close game. Obviously, you win, you have a chance to go to the ACC championship game in Charlotte. Miami, they're a little ticked off. They're not getting the respect that they need, and obviously you got to have a win to get in. Pittsburgh, they're coming off the high, like you said, Anthony, but it's going to be a close game no matter who wins. So I like the Canes here, plus 4.5. Taking it back to the SEC, Vanderbilt on the road in Rocky Top at Tennessee and Knoxville. The Vols being a 3.5 point favorite. This, again, does not have a official rivalry game name. I've seen the I-40 Cup. You got the Smoky Mountain Bowl as well as the Whiskey Barrel Bowl. So whatever you want to call it.
That's the one we're going with. That's a good one.
Which one? The Whiskey Barrel?
Yeah, I like that one.
Bunch of moonshine drunks up in the Volunteer State, I'll tell you. Anthony, who you got drinking the whiskey here?
Yeah, you look at the schedule, Tennessee has had some really tough losses. Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma, all good teams, right? But we've been saying it ever since we started recording, right? It's really hard to pick against Diego Pavia. We had a fun matchup last year with him, and, you just can't count him out when the lights are the brightest. So I think they can keep it within a field goal here. Give me Vandy plus 3.5.
Okay. Conrad following suit, switching up. Who's drinking the whiskey or the moonshine?
Diego Pavia's mom. I like Vanderbilt. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win this game outright. You can't tell me you're going to make it this far if you're Diego Pavia. Have a chance to probably go to New York, be a Heisman Trophy finalist, potentially get into the playoff if some things happen in front of you, some teams lose, get to 10 wins. It's the perfect way for him to cap off his college football career there for Vanderbilt. So, I think Vanderbilt's the better team. The Diego Pavia storyline, he's not going to lose this game. He won't. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Vanderbilt.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go against you guys. Anthony, you said it at the beginning here. Tennessee losing to 3 games. Alabama, top 10. Georgia, top 10. Oklahoma, top 10. They're a top 10 team. If they win that, they didn't, though. But they're competing with the big dogs. They're at home. It's an evening game. I like Tennessee here, 3.5, no problem at all. Theo Vaughn, I think, is going to be in Knoxville, probably hanging out with Diego's mom. But he's going to have to be holding some heads on his shoulders because they're going to be crying. Give me Rocky Top 3.5, no problem there. Going West Coast here. Oregon on the road in Seattle at Washington here. 6.5 point favorite for the Ducks. They are calling this the Cascade Clash or the Fight for the Forest. Pick your poison there. Anthony, who's going to defend the Forest or the Clash?
To me, this is a little easier pick. I think Oregon's just a far better team. Better in the trenches, more consistent offensively, more physical defensively. I think Washington is going to be able to score, but I don't think they can string together enough stops to prevent Oregon from covering here. Most recently, Washington took a loss to Wisconsin, 13-10, and that just doesn't look good. So, Oregon's depth and efficiency, I think it eventually wins it, by more than a touchdown here.
And Conrad following suit or switching it up?
Yeah, I'm going to ride with Oregon on this one. I think last week, you finally kind of saw some of the things that, at least for me, I got to see some of the things that I thought, Oregon had in them, but you just hadn't really seen the competition this year for them to match up against to know if they were for real or not. But I think the offense for Oregon is really, really good. I think their defense also off the charts there, and that's kind of the difference for me is if this game ends up being a shootout, I think that actually benefits Washington. Because we know how good their quarterback is and how many points they can score when they're on point. But yeah, I think the Oregon defense too much, and they ride off the hot hand from last week. They host a home playoff game. So yeah, Oregon.
Very nice. I'm gonna ride with you guys here. Oregon 6.5. I do think Washington, if they come out and win at home, I think there's a chance that Oregon gets pushed out of the playoffs here. Believe it or not. Oregon, like you said, they're just hot right now. They got the better stats, offense, defensive. I will say Washington's quarterback, he gets a 270-yard passing game this go-around. I do believe he's going to be over that 4,000-yard mark, which is pretty damn impressive there. But, Oregon's coming off that high win off of USC, putting a smack down at home. They're going on the road, and they want to get one more game back in Eugene there. So give me the Ducks 6.5, no problem there. Keeping it on the West Coast, UCLA at USC. The battle for LA, USC being a 20.5 point favorite at home. Anthony, who's going to hold down the LA Fortress here?
Yeah, big spread here, but I think USC can do it minus 20.5. They've had some tough losses to some tough opponents: Oregon, Notre Dame, Illinois, when they were more decent than they are now. And you look at UCLA just hasn't gotten it together all season. And speaking of Washington, UCLA lost to Washington 48-14. I consider taking this as my 20 piece of the week because I think USC just pours it on here because they're playing for the postseason positioning, and UCLA's defense is just very capable of having 50 dropped on them. So give me the Trojans minus 20.5.
When Vegas has you projected as a 20 piece of the week, something's got to be off there. Not too bad of a pick. Conrad, who you got holding down the Fortress of LA?
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad pick at all by Anthony. I'm strictly going off of it's over 20-point spread on rivalry week. I'm just going to roll the dice on UCLA, say that they have the emotion of the moment. Not that they're going to win or anything like that, but maybe they keep it. They lose by 2 touchdowns, something like that. So I'll take UCLA. And the points. That's just a lot for a rivalry game.
I agree. It is a lot, but I'm going to ride with Anthony here. The only person on UCLA is the washed-up Tennessee Vol, Nico Lava. And that's just not going to be enough there. So I like USC at home. Give me the Trojans.
I'm going to start pronouncing his name like that. I like that.
Well, it's just like a glitch, llama, and then it just finally you run out and you're like, I think I said it right.
Yeah, there you go.
So now we're going to wrap it up. Nightcap, prime time on ABC, SEC, the beautiful, the most glorious of them all, the Iron Bowl. Alabama and the haunted Jordan-Hare being a 5.5 point favorite. Anthony, fill us in. What's going to happen in Jordan-Hare late night?
Yeah, Iron Bowls are crazy. Nick Saban himself said it's Jordan-Hare's haunted. Auburn just consistently plays above the talent level that they have in the Iron Bowl when they're at home, and I don't think this year is going to be any different. Auburn's going to run the ball. The crowd energy is going to drag Alabama down a little bit slower, more physical game than they're used to. But Auburn literally has nothing to lose here, and they know that Alabama has everything to lose. We're talking about a night game in Jordan-Hare with a chance to knock out a rival in the playoff. I think it's an easy pick for me. Give me Auburn plus 5.5.
So I'm going to throw a quick stat out real quick. Jordan-Hare has hosted 5 Iron Bowls at nighttime. Auburn is 4-1 in those. So are they going to be 5-1? Anthony is saying yes. There was once upon a time that we were saying, hey, fear that thumb. This might be another fear the thumb scenario. Conrad, are you going to fear the thumb, or are you going to face that thumb head on?
Well, so here's my stat that I'll throw out there then.
Let's hear it.
So there's 30 times in Iron Bowl history that Alabama and Auburn have played when Alabama's been ranked and Auburn has not been ranked. In those 30 matchups, Alabama is 29-1. So it has happened one time. It has happened one time, and that was in 2002 when Auburn won with Franchione there for Alabama. But I think it's going to be. I'll just say this. As an Alabama fan, it's going to be a miserable 60 minutes of football. It's not going to feel good at any point in time, I don't think. But I do think Alabama, again, they've been a much better team this year. They've had their own struggles as well. I think Auburn absolutely has enough talent to win this football game. It's going to be really, really difficult. If it comes down to special teams or field goal, I don't like Alabama's chances in that way. But I do think they've been a significantly better team this year. I will take them to win by 3 or 4. So I think Auburn definitely covers, but I'll take Alabama to squeak out a win.
Okay. Even though I'm repping a hat, a shirt, second generation, I'm going to go against it. Anthony, you said it. Nick Saban says Jordan-Hare is haunted. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be attending, no doubt about it. But I'm going to throw a little reverse psychology on this. Give me the Tide, they cover, and that's the only reason. Auburn doesn't have a head coach. That's the only reason. So Alabama covers 5.5, and I wish them luck in the SEC championship because they're going to be there, right? I'm not going to jinx myself. If I go 9-1 this week and this is my one, I'm okay. I'm okay.
So you win either way. That's what you're going with.
100%. 100%. 9-1 is a 10-0. So
I'm not going to lie. That's a little bit of what I did as well because, right, either I'm right on the pick or Alabama wins in a blowout, and then I'm happy either way. So
see, you're picking up. You're picking up. That is the pick'ems, though. We do have one last little bit here. The 20 piece of the week. Obviously, some pretty tight spreads, and then a couple outliers that have some. I'm not going to say rivalry implications, but it's like, why the heck are they playing? Anthony, fill me in. Who's your 20 piece of the week here?
Yeah, we're going to go Indiana.
Yeah, we're doing it.
We're going Indiana versus Purdue. Three-time 20-piece of the week champ. And we're not talking basketball this week. We're talking football. Purdue, their defense just can't stop anybody, and Indiana's offense has been insane. I don't think that there's any reason that we shouldn't pick Indiana, given their track record and resume for 20 pieces against bad teams. So I'm going to go with the Hoosiers.
So what happens if Indiana gets up so quick and they're like, you know what, we have a big game next week. Let's rest them.
Like you said, let's throw little brother in there, man.
Okay.
He's coming in off the bench,
right,
ready to go.
The junior.
Conrad, sounds like you want to follow suit.
It's just one of those things where I'm looking down there and I'm like, man, are we all going to pick the same game with Indiana and Purdue? So I will not, because I had a backup, and I feel good about my backup because they came through for me last week. Notre Dame and Stanford, 31.5-point favorite there for Notre Dame. I don't know if they're going to win by 63, but I think they can easily win by 30-plus.
You know what, Conrad, I've picked Indiana 3 times, and they've helped me out 2 times in this category. But that one time, it just burns a little too much. And you were right last week. You were like, you know what, Notre Dame is taking the crap teams and beating them down. And Notre Dame's got to go out west to Stanford. They got to see Andrew Luck's big-ass bald spot in the back of his head. But that's all right because they're going to put up 31.5 and then some. So I'm going to ride with you there. Luck of the Irish. I honestly think they're still fighting for a chance to get into the playoffs.
Well, I was about to say, they kind of need style points, maybe just a little bit.
No doubt. And I think that's going to be the deciding factor. If you come into the college football committee with back-to-back just absolute blowouts, again, not saying it's going to be a 63-piece here, but 31.5, I think they cover, and then some there. Potentially a 40-piece. Put it on the board here. So give me Notre Dame. No problem here. But that wraps it up for the Rivalry Week College Football Week 14 edition here. Gentlemen, any last closing words? This is the final take of the regular season here.
War Eagle, man.
Roll Tide.
War Eagle. We got nothing to lose. War Eagle.
Fair enough.
We got everything to lose. But everything to gain.
Either way, it's going to be fun to sit back and enjoy some college football, especially with some heat of the moment games on the stake here. I will say, moving forward, we obviously will be approaching the bowling season. stay on the lookout for social media. We're going to put up some special contests, maybe some money involved, maybe some prizes involved, maybe some legal action lawsuits involved. We just got to get everything sorted out before we start throwing money around. So be on the lookout for that. We wish you guys all a happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe. If you're traveling, make sure you get to the airport in time and don't dress like a slob. And we will see you next week. War Eagle.